Welcome back to another video, guys. This is going to be a video of how I got absolutely cooked on NASDAQ. So, let me zoom this down. But basically, dude. Oh my god. Someone help me. Someone help! So this is what happened on NASDAQ today. Red arrows are my entries, purple arrows are my exits. And you might be thinking to yourself, Evan, look! You had a green trade! No. Incorrect. This is perhaps the worst possible trade I think I've ever taken in my entire life. So, we're going to break this down for you. We had liquidity down here in the morning and just this low down here. We also had these lows over here I didn't mark out, but I was eyeing these lows and I was recognizing, okay, price is taking this low. But ultimately, I wanted price to go down and take this low here, right? So we took these lows. We bounce up. I think that we're going to go down and take out these lows. So given that information, 2-minute time frame, chop, no trades. Break to the downside, create a 2-minute fair value gap. I wait to see if there's a reaction. Nope, we get ran through back to the upside. Rejects off the 48 EMA. Okay, we're bearish. Let's go. Because we got the reject of the EMA, no higher highs. Doesn't matter if we inverse this gap if we're staying below the EMAs. If we're staying below 48 and 13 EMAs. Excuse my dog, by the way. He's like eating with his toy, whatever that is. So, reject here. So we're bearish still. We now have this push down. We create this 2-minute fair value gap here. We create this 2-minute fair value gap. Boom. Like this. Price comes up into it. Beautiful rejection. I'm like, bet. I'm going to take this once we start to get like some volume out of this. We get some volume out of this, right? This candle was obviously red at one point. Boom. I take this trade to the downside. I'm literally just expecting a break of this low, and then I want it to go and touch this low right here, and then that would be my full take profit right there. Instead, I had my stop loss above this 48 EMA. Instead, we get a bounce right here. We come up, we wick out. So cool, we still haven't broke structure to the upside. And we start to move back down. Then we wick out here. And then we go, and we start to push to the upside again, right? And I'm contemplating selling right here because I'm like, all right, we just made a higher low. I think I'm just going to get out. Boom! Random candle comes out of nowhere, cooked, sold at like the worst possible price. And then what happened? Price basically reversed back on down. It hasn't gone to the downside yet, but it looks like it's going to curl over on the day. So my overall bias for the day was definitely correct. But essentially what happened was everything kind of lined up. Reject off the 48 EMA. Only thing, the main thing to take away from this is that my entry was absolute garbage. My entry was just trash. My entry was down here. What am I doing entering down here, bro? Look at this. We get a pullback to the 48 EMA, possible entry point. Create a 2-minute fair value gap. Push down, right? Pull back up into the 2-minute fair value gap. Reject. Possible entry on this candle. Somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere on this candle. First entry could have been at the close of this candle. Second entry could have been at the close of this candle, right? You could have had somewhat of a better entry here. But instead, I had the worst possible entry and probably, basically, the worst possible exit. So, terrible trade on the day. Absolutely just terrible. We're not even going to talk about the loss. We're just going to just leave it at that. Okay? It wasn't too big of a loss. Nothing that I can't come back from with just one winning trade, but it's way more than it should have been. So, that was the Sqqq trade. Unfortunately, some other things to take from this. We took these lows right here. These are all kind of equal lows. I wanted to see this area get taken into this zone. We didn't. We didn't reach below that. We just bounced straight after taking these lows right in here. And now we're just chopping. On top of that, price action was absolutely garbage today. I should have known by price action starting out like this. Rest in peace. What else? I don't know. Just have a better entry. I got to have a better entry based on where exactly I want price to go. And for example, if I want price to go down and I'm entering here like I did today, that's going to leave me like this much room for profit. So I understood that I wanted to just make a little bit of profit and wanted it to be more of a scalp. But, right, and then on top of that, the only place that could have invalidated the trade, saying that it was incorrect, would have been a break above the 48 EMA, right? A break and close above the 48 EMA. So we didn't get that until this candle, and this candle absolutely cooked me. So basically what happened was the stop loss that I had to put in place in order for the trade to truly be incorrect was too far away from my entry. And that all leads back to my entry was terrible. So that's the whole learning lesson of this, is that the entry point that I had was absolute garbage. With that being said, like I'm not trading this anymore today. I don't even feel some type of way. Like I used to, I don't know, feel like stressed out. Like, bro, I'm never gonna make this back. I know that I can make that back in one trade. I know that I can. So I'm not worried about it. But I just want to make sure that I learn the lesson from this. This is a terrible freaking entry. And if I ever enter like this again, then I need to basically just stop myself out of the trade almost instantly. I wanted to hold this because I thought it still had potential to go down. Instead, it just went up, stopped me out. And now it's probably going to go down on the day. But we're not going to pay attention to that. So now we're going to go to IWM because I took one more trade on IWM. And this was valid. This was valid, bro. If we look at this, okay, first of all, if I wouldn't have been watching Sqqq and I would have just been watching IWM, I could have gotten a perfect trade. But I didn't. So while Sqqq was chopping, so was IWM. And then Sqqq made a move to the downside. IWM made a move to the downside. It bounced right off this area of liquidity that I had marked out right here. Boom. This is the beginning of the pre-market open right in here, right around 4 p.m. or 4 a.m. Price went down here and bounced, right? Super aggressively, made that impulsive move to the upside, creating a fair value gap. Price pulled back into the fair value gap. This is all happening while I'm waiting to enter Sqqq, by the way, and I wasn't watching IWM. Pull back into 50% retracement of this fair value gap. Perfect entry. Just beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful entry. Don't mind this green. I need to take this off. This has nothing to do with anything. Okay, don't mind the dog whining in the background either. So, huge push up, retracement to 50% of this fair value gap right here, and then we start to trend up on the day. This would have been a perfect entry. This would have been a perfect entry right here. Boom. Candle close, cool. Set stops below this. We would have been perfectly fine. We trended up. We made a nice move up on the day. Bro, oh my God. Don't get a Doberman. Whatever you do, don't get a Doberman. They literally just whine for absolutely no reason. But regardless, perfect trend up on the day. So IWM had way better price action than Sqqq. Sqqq's price action was absolutely garbage. We went up all the way up here. We rejected on the day. This is when SPY, Sqqq, and IWM were all rejecting on the day. So we start to pull back. And so what I'm looking for now on the 2-minute time frame is a pullback to this 48 EMA. Not only the 48 EMA, because we also had this huge extension right here. So I'm looking for price to retrace to a fair value gap here, a fair value gap here, whatever, or a possible low, this possible low, which is basically what we ended up doing, is tapping this low, right? And then pushing right, like as soon as we started pushing back up on this candle, I was in there. I set stops below this low, or basically below this low, same thing. And then I just targeted, not this previous high, I targeted 50% retracement of this right here. And that's where I got out. But I would have liked to see this high, but once we were up here, I was up about 20% on the options. So I just decided to get out because it was too perfect, right? We had a nice bounce. We followed it perfectly. We never broke below, and we just went straight up to my target. So I was like, I'm just going to sell all here. I don't want to sit around because these were 0 DTEs, so I didn't want to sit around and just wait for the theta to basically just kill my contract. So that was the second trade. All we did, 2-minute time frame. We're already in an uptrend. We're respecting EMAs. We pull back to the 48 EMA and we rebalance after basically bouncing off this previous low right here. That's what you want to look for on a trend day, or basically any day that has a slow trend up. We have this huge trend up right here, and we're getting little pullback, little pullback, little pullback. So if you get in on one of these little pullbacks, cool, but the contracts aren't going to move a ton unless we make a move like this. So you need a move like this where contracts get destroyed for you to pick some up on the low and then ride it, partially back up. Especially when you see it overextended like this, for a fact. Look how far. Look. If we just look at this, right here. Look right here. If I was looking at price and it was forming right here, and I saw this, and I'm looking at just this candle, not the fact that it's a red candle, but the fact that it's this far away from the 13 EMA and it's this far away from the 48 EMA, it's going to pull back. It's going to pull back at some point. And then it pulls back, right? And then you wait for a reaction off of those EMAs, and then you get in, and you set stops below, and you try the trade up. And that's pretty much it. As long as we get that reaction, that strong reaction like we did here, there's no reason that it shouldn't at least retrace to 50% of this move. It happens all the time, right? It may not continue up on the day, which is fine, but that's all you needed was from here to here. So green trade on IWM, red trade on QQQ. Overall, good day. Like I'm not sweating about anything. I'm not worried about it. I know I can make the trade. I know I can make it back. It's just more of the learning lesson. Just taking the learning lesson and understanding that entry point was absolute garbage. It was literally just trash. Now it might have been good for someone who's just going for like a tiny little scalp. I need a little bit more with the scalp, not like a huge trade or anything, but I need a little bit of something. That way I can lock in some profits. And I just entered at the very bottom. Like, I don't even know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't even know why I entered there, to be honest. I do. Like, I understand what I was looking at. Bro, if I can type this in, oh my gosh. There. I know exactly what I was looking at, and that was, prices re-expecting, bearish fair value gap. We got this huge push up, reject off 48. Everything looked bearish. I just wanted to see the low of day taken and then a little bit below there. Instead, we got cooked. So it is what it is. Take it as a learning lesson and move on to the next day. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.